These two workers have microchips?
Right. Well, this is very, very real. And these microchips are about the size of a grain of rice. They get injected into your skin.
Futuristic film. Humans injected with a tiny chip holding the key to all of their private information.
But as you're about to see in our CBS 46 investigation, it's not fiction. In fact, it's being marketed in Georgia as life-saving technology. Life-saving technology.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
It is the first implantable microchip for humans. It has multiple security, financial, and healthcare applications.
One thing I would just suggest, I'm just an outside soon-to-be investor. I love this idea, by the way, Scott. I think that
the Northside Independent School District in San Antonio has put tracking chips in the ID badges for more than 4,000 high school students.
Well, it looks and sounds like something out of the future, but a new palm scanning device will help Bossier Parish schools keep better track of what children are eating at. The electronic device will be implemented at all Bossier Parish schools.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 9. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting onto the elect. All right, and so I wanted to go into this quick article here. All right, being in the times that we're in. All right, like the Apostle Paul tells us that 2 Corinthians 2:11, that we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. And as we inch closer and closer, all right, to the return of our Lord, okay, these devils are going to push a certain narrative, right, to demonize the men of the Lord and ultimately to open up the way to make war against the saints and ultimately to fight against Yahushua when he gets back. Okay, let's see if we can get a quick precept to cut that, to let them understand, all right, that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, the kingdom of Israel, the house of David, will stand. Okay, the house of David shall stand, and nobody's going to take us down. Okay, thus saith the Lord. All right. There's a book of 2 Samuel, okay, chapter 7 and verse 22. It says, "Wherefore thou art great, O Yahweh power, for there is none like thee, neither is there any power beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom the Most High Yahweh went to redeem for a people to himself." And that's exactly what he's about to do again, all right, by redeeming the elect, sending his son Yahushua to come down and deliver his elect, okay, to redeem for a people to himself and to make him a name, all right. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, it's because it's through the elect that name Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is being glorified in the earth right now. Because we're the only ones who are calling upon that name throughout the whole entire world. Who else is calling upon that name, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? Except for the true men of the Lord. Okay? And it says, "And to do for you great things and terrible for thy land, before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt." And we're in modern day, the reincarnated version of Egypt. All right, the spiritual Sodom and Egypt, that's America. Okay, because Egypt was known for how great it was at the time. Okay, and what made it great was the Israelites who made it great by way of slavery, bondage. Okay, and that's the same thing that's happening here in America, Babylon the Great. Okay, America was made great by who? By the so-called slaves. All right, those are the Israelites. Okay, it says, "From the nations and their gods, for thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel, to be a people unto thee forever. And thou, O Lord Yahweh, and become their power. Okay? So that's clear as day, okay, that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is only dealing with one nation, and that nation is the nation of Israel. Okay? Now, this message, this gospel that we're preaching, all right, is going throughout the whole entire earth. Now people are starting to see the truth of the Bible. Something that was deliberately hidden. Now the truth is finally flourishing. Okay, and now that the truth is flourishing, is blocking these devils from achieving their so-called New World Order. So in their attempt to fight back against this truth, they will have no choice but to demonize us and to cut us off from speaking this truth and warning people. Okay, speaking these prophecies into existence, because the more Israelites wake up to what we're saying, the less of a chance Esau has, all right, to fulfill his agenda, his plan. Okay, because in order for him to rule, Jacob cannot exist, in the sense that Jacob cannot know that they are Jacob. Because once Jacob knows who he is, Esau, you're finished. Let's go into this article. It says, media framing effects. When is the terrorism label used? So we know, all right, through the DHS, all right, that they've deemed almost 90% of the American population, all right, they've been deemed domestic terrorists. 90%. And most people don't even know. Okay? But we know. And we know they're going to frame it. All right? They're going to use the media and their government and their policies, and there are so many different things to frame the truth like it's the worst thing that ever happened. And we're going to show you how they do it, the tactics and techniques that they're going to use. Okay? It's pretty simple. They follow the same basis. They follow the same shit. You just have to, substitute and place a few things here and there to fit the times that you're in. Okay? So going back during 9/11, so-called 9/11, they were able to put the face of terrorism as so-called Arabs and so on and so forth. Now you have the face of terrorism is the face of a terror, or terrorism is not really a particular image besides the so-called black man's face. Okay? Anyway, it says consumers of news are impacted in two primary ways by mass media, what is referred to as agenda setting and framing effects. Agenda setting is fairly straightforward. There has to be a basic consensus regarding what constitutes newsworthy items, so elite media become the gatekeepers for what information we have access to. You hear that? So your mainstream media, that's what is known as so-called elite media. The mainstream media are gatekeepers for what information people have access to. That's why there's prophecy going on in the world, and majority of people don't understand or know that that's what's actually happening. You got people worried about trans rights. It says the agenda that is put forth by the media impacts consumers' perceptions regarding issue importance, and also how salient or on a person's mind a given topic is. Framing effects go one step further than this. Okay? So when they set the agenda, all right, when they put the agenda out there, okay, it's supposed to impact your perception of the reality. That's the point. Okay? So there's a reason why no media seems to be coming against the World Economic Forum and their agenda. But majority of the people, if you ask them, okay, I'm talking about those who still have brains in their heads. If you ask them, hey, what do you think about the so-called World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab and his deals and his plans and what they have for the world, ultimately MC hipping the population and so on and so forth? What do you think about that? You own nothing and you be happy by 2030, right? You're going to be living in small little cubicles, like a small little box, stacked up on top of each other in a small little land space. Meanwhile, there's a whole lot of land that you could live off of. When you go to the Rothschild mansions, so-called, all right, this asshole got a nerve to say that he has 5,500 acres of land surrounding his goddamn estate. 5,500. This. But you see, you look at that and it makes you wonder, like, what are we going to get in the kingdom? What are we going to get? I mean, the scriptures tell you that we're going to inherit the whole entire earth. Yahushua tells you that. All right, I believe in the book of Matthew, he said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the kingdom. Okay? Anyway, so let's keep going. It says, framing effects have to do with the way that a given story is packaged and represented or presented to consumers of news. It is strongly impacted by the language that is used to describe given events or ascribed to actors who are identified as critical features of a given story. Language is critical in these presentations because it serves as the cognitive framework in which we understand the world around us, and in the case of exposure to news, make sense of a given event or story. Thus, in this regard, media plays a very significant role in how we perceive events based on their reporting. See that? So now you can see how media will be the best tool for propaganda, right? To propagate a certain idea, whether it be true or false. Okay, once you have a platform and you push a certain narrative, that is propaganda. By the very definition of the word propaganda, doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If you have an agenda, so what we push is propaganda. We're pushing an idea, okay, which is what? The truth. Something that is foreign to the world. They don't deal with the truth, but we're propagating the truth onto the world only for the elect to hear. Just like how Esau propagates wickedness for the whole world, the Lord does the same thing on the right-hand side. It's a balance. Proverbs 11 tells you that. Okay, Proverbs the 11th chapter tells you about the balance. So in all things, you have the good and you have the bad. Okay, you have the righteous and you have the wicked. All right. So continuing, in the case of public acts of mass violence, there is a growing debate regarding when it is appropriate to use the term, quote, terrorism or terrorist, end quote. This is not merely an academic debate. What actors or actions we refer to as terrorist or terrorism versus using other terminology, for example, lone wolf, hate crime, public shooter, etc., has huge implications in shaping public perceptions of other groups, inciting stereotypes, and in validating or marginalizing the victims of such attacks. A common critique of the corporate media today is that who or what is identified as terrorism is not based on an objective framework regarding the definition of terrorist acts, but rather the specific demographics of the perpetrators of mass violence. That's exactly what it is. True. Okay, that's what Esau does. Okay, he doesn't do things based on the situation, because remember, these situations don't happen randomly. They are orchestrated to happen to further a certain cause or an agenda. Okay, so when you start seeing mass shootings all of a sudden, it's not something that people just start shooting each other. No, it's a problem being orchestrated to cause a reaction so they could bring about a solution. And you notice with every so-called mass shooting that happens, the only solution they tend to have is always gun control, gun control, gun control, gun control. What about the people who are not doing their jobs? What about the flawed system that you claim that works, this whole surveillance shit? Okay, what about all these little factors that they don't tend to look at? You know, if they were to say they wanted to ban knives, you'll see how many all of a sudden knife attacks are going to start happening, so that they can be justified to come after the knives. That's how Esau works. Okay, it's called problem, reaction, solution, otherwise known as the Hegelian dialectic. Okay, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Okay, that's Esau's MO. So once you understand that MO, world events don't shock you. You're not surprised. You just try to trace it and see, okay, what happened here? What's the end goal? Okay, we know who did it. We know why they did it, because we know what they're trying to get out of this. You see, and the biggest form they use to push the people to accept some of these things is what? Through the media, right? Through the media, all right? The media can make somebody look like a god, or it can make you look like a devil. That's what the media does. Okay, when you go into the so-called Illuminati diversion tactics and you read about it, everything that you watch on TV is all, remember, it's acting. but they follow the same patterns. How they demonize you, okay, or how they can make people to worship you. There's always the same pattern. How they started, what kind of stuff they do, just like how they did with Kanye and Kyrie a few months ago. We could see how the media was playing the whole game. Okay, and we know they're trying to look for a way to tie that in to demonize the men of the Lord. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but we'll see how they get it done. We'll see. Okay, we'll see, because everybody knows what we're about. Okay, and when Yahweh Bashim Yahushai puts us out there and he lets the world know that he's actually dealing with us, nobody can do anything to us. I mean, you can't do shit now. Imagine then. Okay, for standing so stiffly for the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, yo, we're good. It is you who needs to be worried. We're good. All right. It says, for example, if the perpetrator is foreign-born or Muslim, the act is far more likely to be labeled terrorism than other similarly waged acts of violence when the perpetrator is white or a citizen of the country in question. In line with this apparent disparity, the demographics of who is victimized in acts of mass violence also appears to impact how the violence is labeled. For instance, Fisher 2017 recently reflected that, quote, as attacks against Muslims have risen, many have been labeled something other than terrorism. For Muslim victims, this seems to confirm suspicions that society sees them as potential threats more readily than as fellow citizens to be protected, end quote. And that's Esau right there for you. It says, in fact, scholarly work by Kearns et al. Has identified that when Muslims are the perpetrators of terrorist attacks, they receive a disproportionate amount of media coverage relative to non-Muslim perpetrators. 44% more coverage than other attacks. Now, what does Esau get with these attacks? What does Jake get with these attacks? It says, in fact, the researchers go on to note that, quote, given the disproportionate quantity of news coverage for these attacks, it is no wonder that people are afraid of the Muslim terrorists. See? Because the other ones don't get as much media attention compared to the Muslim so-called terrorist attacks, which most of the time are all freaking orchestrated. Okay, because normal Muslims, if you meet them, they're very peaceful. They're actually very peaceful people. You know, they don't go around just fucking shit up and shooting shit up and bombing shit. They don't do that. They actually are very peaceful. You know, I've yet to see a violent Muslim just going out there, especially here in Babylon the Great, that's just wilding the hell out. You got folks out there that do bugged out shit, but that's everywhere. Jake do bugged out shit too. Okay, Jake be the worst when it comes to being bugged out. Right after Esau, Jake is right there. You see, but I've yet to see Elamite, okay, just wilding the hell out. You know, so-called Indians, all right, or even Arabs, all right, the Ishmaelites, okay. It says, it is noteworthy to also include in this analysis that Muslim perpetrated terrorist attacks on American soil are far less common than other forms of mass violence. However, since these other types of mass violence are not labeled as terrorism, they are not perceived as similarly threatening by the general public. So it's all about the labels. Okay, you could be peaceful as a lamb, harmless as a dove, okay, and wise as a serpent, and they still gonna demonize you. You know, you could be perfect, and Esau gonna say, "Oh, this guy is the most imperfect motherfucker in the world." Everybody go, "Oh, yeah, he imperfect. Yeah, I always knew." In fact, contrary to what the current administration or corporate media has led consumers to believe, only 5% of all terrorist attacks committed in the United States since 9/11 have been from foreign-born Muslim perpetrators, as reported by Kearns et al. 2017. However, the disproportionate media coverage of these attacks and the use of the term terrorism in these cases, to the exclusion of the term in other similar acts of mass violence leads to incitement of negative perceptions more generally toward Muslims. So they're going to follow the same shit that they do, and they're going to come against the men of the Lord with it. Okay? And you're going to have these dumbass people who are going to believe every word of it, just like they did over the past 2 years. All right? To believe that there's an invisible enemy, and this is what you need to do to fight it. You can't see your enemy. How the hell do you even start fighting that enemy? You might as well just say, look, bro, there ain't no war. I can't see you. I ain't fighting nothing. All right? But yet they deceive the world to believe in some type of invisible enemy. And now we're here. Okay? Now we're here. Let's read this and we're going to close it out. It says, in a corporate media environment, consumers of news cannot rely solely on the packaging of news stories to get the full scope of what is going on in the world. As consumers of news with the media landscape, As consumers of news with the media landscape what it is today, there you go, we need to ask ourselves probing questions such as, what are the reasons behind how a story is being packaged or presented to us? You hear that? Most people don't do that. They don't do that. These so-called kids in America, all they care about is TikTok and stupid shit like that. And you just wait. That's why it says that the day is going to come upon them unawares, man. All right? It's going to overtake them. The Lord says he's going to laugh when your calamity cometh. Okay? It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny and hilarious at the same time. Okay? It says, just as significantly, we need to be more vigilant in our own use of language, for it could reveal hidden or disguised biases, even stereotypes. Whatever. It says, because they don't see, Esau tries to push this, don't have any favoritism. Don't be biased. Be equal. Treat everyone the same. You can't do that. Because if you go around saying that you're going to treat everyone the same or equal, that means that you're going to have to suppress some people's unique qualities in order for you to uplift somebody's inadequacies, just so you can have everything balanced out. You see, the Most High purposely made some great and some small because you need to have a balance. But Esau says, no, we're going to make everybody small or great. It's going to be one thing. You can't have that. You got to have the ups and downs. Okay? You got to have the good and the bad, the good and the evil, the righteous and the wicked, the up and the down, the west and the east. Okay? The light and the darkness. Okay? The sweet and the sour, the sweet and the bitter. You got to have balance, the male and the female, the man and the woman, right? The adult and the child. Okay? The creator and the creation, right? It says, such deliberation shouldn't be marginalized or dismissed as, quote, overly politically correct, end quote. Rather, if language is one of the blah, 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 who cares? So again, going back to what we're talking about, they use the media, right? To what? To frame, all right? To control the minds and perceptions, all right, of the American people and people around the world. Okay, so we coming in here and speaking about it, okay, and giving that truth about what we're speaking about. Guess what happens? You're putting a wrench, okay, in their metaverse. You're putting a huge wrench, all right, in their matrix. Okay, their mother of tricks, which is what? The media. A lot of people are caught in that matrix because you don't know what's going on. You don't know the reality of the situation. You're just there. You just exist. Okay, but soon you're about to be non-existent. Okay, you fulfilled your lot in the movie. You were just here to exist, and now you're about to be clipped. You out of there. Because we're about to enter into the main event, the main phase. Okay, the main phase, and they're going to have to demonize us. And that's why the Spirit has us bringing this out. Okay, that's why the Spirit has us bringing this up. So let's get this quick precept here. Okay, because these are the times that we're going into. All right. This is the book of, let's see. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I was trying to find a precept, but that's all right. All right. Amos. There's the book of Amos. All right, chapter 8 and verse 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai." And how do you hear the words? Okay, by hearing the words that the men of the Lord are speaking, starting from our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. We, okay, are the men of the Lord. Okay, we are the men of the Lord, and that's why the Lord has sent us to give a certain message, a specific message. Okay, and that message is being sent out, and for those who are of the elect, they're receiving it. For those who are the 2/3, they're dismissing it. Okay, they're being rebellious, but that's okay, because soon this was going to happen. Amos 8 and 12, it says, "And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh, and shall not find it." So again, they're going to be looking for who? The prophets, the real men of the Lord. Okay, that's what's going to be happening, and they're going to be looking, bugging out. You think they're going to be looking for IUIC, ISUB? They don't care about them, because they're going to know that, nah, this is some real stuff. We need real men to explain these things to us, but we're not going to be here to do that. Okay, and the Lord is going to be taking his time to what? To cook you dumbass niggas, man. All right, go cook all you dumb, stupid ass jakes out there, man. You simpletons out there. Okay, you deserve everything that's coming, and we can't wait. All right, it's the book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 20 says, "Wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets." And that's who? The prophets. We go out there week in, week out, day in, day out, pushing the word out there, literally being in the streets. Okay, she crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, "How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity?" We're always constantly asking Jake, when are you going to return and turn back to the Lord? Your ways are uneven. Your ways are wicked. Turn back to righteousness. Okay? When brothers go out there, we get on Jake, and it seems like, oh, y'all always bashing on us. Oh, why y'all always? It's because Jake doesn't want to do the right thing. You got to have somebody to enact some type of order. Okay? I mean, how bad do you want to really get? You know what I'm saying? It says, "And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge." How long? How long, you jakes? Everything is a joke to you niggas. How long? Verse 23, "Turn you at my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you." All right? And again, it starts with the prophets. Okay? "Because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you. Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me." See? And that's the times that we're coming in. You're going to demonize the men of the Lord and say, oh, we don't want to hear this. Oh, give them up. Oh, these men are this. These men are that. And then when Esau turns on you and shows you exactly what we were warning you about, then you're going to start looking for us. Oh, where the men at? Oh, my God. Oh, where's your... Oh. Proverbs 1:29. "For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai." Okay? You hated knowledge, okay? And therefore, you will not be comforted in the times that we're coming in. Okay? Those who love knowledge, we're going to be good. But the rest, It's the book of Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." So you're not going to be stable if you don't have that wisdom and knowledge. And you got in this previous precept that they hated knowledge. So they hated to be comfortable in them times that we're coming into. And the Most High is going to see to it that they're made very uncomfortable. And ultimately, they're going to end up dead or being dead. Okay? It says, and strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure. Okay? The fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is our treasure, man. All right? That's what's going to keep us going. That's what's going to give us more and more of the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and abundance to survive. Okay? And to be found worthy to stand in the presence of our Lord Yahushai. Okay? Kolo Yahbashim Yahushai. Lord willing, you brothers and sisters were edified. The water Yahbashim Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.